Right, buddy, welcome back to your latest Manchester United news. In this video, we'll be talking about a huge boost for Manchester United surrounding Carlos Baleba and Elliot Anderson potentially joining the club. We'll be talking about Xerxes, Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, Mainu, and some other interesting stories as well as we delve into the latest Manchester United news. So let's get into it. So let's start off by talking about the news that's come out around the midfield, Baleba and Anderson in particular. So obviously, Manchester United announced yesterday that Casemiro would be leaving the club in the summer after expiry of his contract. Now, obviously, it's all come out in the media, all public, because Manchester United ultimately, I think, wanted to kind of confirm Casemiro was leaving. But ultimately, now this gives them public sort of recognition to players that they're out and they're on the need to get players. Now, a major midfield overhaul could see as many as 4 new faces for Manchester United come the summer, with Elliot Anderson and Carlos Baleba their top 2 targets. So listen, I do expect a midfield overhaul. I think we've seen sort of and we've seen the likes of David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano saying they do think it will be heavy summer coming for Manchester United in terms of recruitment, and I think there will be. I think Manchester United are ultimately a team who are in desperate need of midfield recruitment, and whether that is Baleba, Anderson, I think we do need a lot. I mean, with Casemiro's departure confirmed, and United probably playing a midfield three. I mean, our options are kind of limited. You look at who we have available now for the deep line position is Casemiro and Ugarte. For the box to box, is only really Mainu I trust in there, and potentially Bruno if you want to go that far. But we are in desperate need of midfielders, and I think we need probably 2 number 6s and a number 8 to give competition to Mainu. And there's no 2 better players in my opinion than Baleba and Anderson for those 2 roles. They would be my ideal midfield too. I think they have the quality, and more importantly, they fit the profile of this Manchester United team. They are very, very interesting, and they already have the quality to join this Manchester United team. So midfield overhaul, as I said, is expected. What I would do in the midfield, as I said, I'd get rid of Ugarte. We already know Casemiro's going. That opens up 2 spaces, also a lot of wages as well. And I'd go out and get Elliot Anderson, and I'd go and bring Carlos Baleba, and potentially even a João Gomez if you want to go that far. I'd go in, overhaul, massively improve that midfield, and that's something that the recruitment team at Manchester United, I'm hopeful that they're doing. And I think prem experience in the midfield is vital. It's such a big position, and with whoever that new manager is, they're gonna need midfielders. So yeah, that's really what's happening at the midfield. United could potentially see Baleba and Anderson come in again. I've done loads of videos about them. They are 2 players for me that will slot straight into this Manchester United team, massively improve the squad, and ultimately take us to that next level, in my opinion, to potentially challenging for leagues in hopefully a few years. Now, in terms of recruitment, as I said, internal talks are going on. Vavel's involved. Jason Barada and Wilcox are involved in these talks. United are looking at strength in with the midfield and left winger being discussed. So, yeah, listen, that is what's going on there with the Wharton, Baleba and Anderson and the midfield situation. Now, the next thing, AS Roma and several other clubs are still in the race for Xerxes. Concrete inquiries for loan deals have been made. A final decision is expected soon, as Xerxes is also keen to gain clarity. He's recently had minor knocks, but should be fully fit by next week. So listen, Xerxes, I don't think he's going to leave. I think it's too late now in the window for Manchester United to go and get out a replacement. And I don't think that will happen. I think ultimately Xerxes does want to leave because he wants to get into that squad for the Netherlands in the World Cup, which you got to respect. Internally, he obviously wants to be working hard and wants to be playing regular football. Now you look at this Manchester United team, where is his best position? I would say it probably would be in that number 10 position, but you got Bruno in there, and in the striker position now you got Mbeumo, who's the favourite at the moment. Or we've only had 1 game, but in that game he started, and then you have Sesko there as well. Cunha he bought in that position as well. So I think Xerxes' minutes will be limited. I mean, I've seen Carrick talk about in the press conference today about how he rates Xerxes and how he can be a different sort of outlet. But do I think Xerxes has a future in this squad? Probably not, unfortunately. And I think that would mean to him potentially leaving. I think Roma definitely have an interest. I think a lot of clubs in Italy do have an interest. So we will have to wait and see what does happen there. But that is the latest on Xerxes. On Bruno Fernandes, Manchester United sources insist they want to keep Bruno Fernandes and he remains a key part of their long-term plans. But Saudi deal makers have not given up on signing him this summer. Dialogue remains open, despite sources close to the player stressing no decision will be taken after the World Cup. So, listen, I think it's going to be kind of similar to what happened last summer. Really, obviously there was no World Cup last summer, but Bruno Fernandes will decide his future after after the World Cup with Portugal. Again, I think there is 1 more year left for Bruno at Manchester United. Again, though, if Bruno Fernandes does leave, and I can very well see that happening, I don't want it to happen, but you could potentially see it happening, that means United will have to go out and get 3 midfielders, or potentially 4. So that's why that report could be accurate, depending on whether Bruno Fernandes leaves. Now, my stance on Bruno quickly is I want him to stay at least one more year. I think he's got so much to give and potentially another trophy in the bank. He's a legend of the football club. And listen, we've seen Casemiro leave. Casemiro and Bruno going in one summer would be massively detrimental to the team. So, yeah, I don't want to see Bruno go this summer. I think he still has a lot more to offer. I mean, 14 goal contributions in 19 games this season is outrageous. So, yeah, I think keeping Bruno is the best thing to do. Now, Manchester United are waiting to find out if Michael Carrick does or doesn't want a short-term extra player in the midfield. If he says yes, the club will try in the final days of the transfer window. Listen, Ruben Neves not going to sign him as well. So, what I would say on sort of the midfield, Carrick, United are not going to get anyone, man. Like, we know the ethos is not to go get a short-term player. That has been kind of the message from Ruben Amorim all the way to now. If they want to bring in a player who's going to be the project for the next few years, they're not going to do a stopgap signing. They're not going to bring anyone in just for the sake of bringing anyone in, and that has been reported. So even if Carrick says he wants to bring someone in, and no one's going to come in my opinion, unless they're a long-term player. You look at Semenyo, he was going to be someone who would be at the club for 5 to 6 years at least. You look at Cunha, who we signed in the summer, Sesko and Burmo. These sorts of players that want to be at United for many years to come. So I don't think we will sign anyone, and I don't believe that story, if I'm being honest with you, but that is my opinion. Now, Carrick, he did his press conference today. He said some interesting things. I'll go through kind of the main takeaways that I kind of looked at while watching the presser. So he said De Ligt's out from an injury. He had a setback, which is a concern. I think De Ligt would definitely give Maguire a good run for his place in this team, and I think he was one of our best players and most consistent players in the early part of the season. He will be out, but return is expected in the next few weeks. He talked about Maguire and Casemiro's deal, saying that the Casemiro departure was kind of already planned before he arrived. But he said Casemiro is fully committed to finishing the season on a good note and ultimately on a professional level, really. I think Casemiro leaving sad, but it's the right decision to be made. He talked about Dalot. I mean, the Dalot one was interesting because he said Dalot had a good game. By no stretch of the imagination did I think Dalot had a 1 or 2 out of 10, but I don't think he was anything great, really. But again, I think you're not going to kind of go in on your own players like Amorim did. He's going to kind of protect him and ultimately said he's consistent and he's doing well and he loves the club and he's known him for a long time. So yeah, they were the key things. I think De Ligt missing is kind of huge for Manchester United, but I think we have more than enough centre-backs available anyway, so it's not like we have a shortage in the centre-back department. But listen, let me know your thoughts. That has been your quick summary. Check out all the videos at the channel that I've been doing, and please do continue to show your support, subscribe, like. Arsenal game coming up on Sunday. The previews out already. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. Casemiro leaving. We did the looking at 3 replacements. I'll do some more videos into more research on some potential players we can bring in. I'll also be doing some sort of other videos as well throughout the week. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. That has been your latest news. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe. We talked about the midfield overhaul. We talked about how sort of Xerxes could potentially leave and what that means for Manchester United. But let me know your thoughts, as you always do, in the comment section below. And don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Peace.